News at 6.
Good night.
On World News tonight, who will be the next president? Florida is recounting all the ballots. Will the Democrats challenge the result? And how did the news media get it wrong?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. Hello once again. It is not over until it is over. The presidential election is still too close to call, and we may not know who the 43rd president is for the next 10 days at least. Today, we are as deep as ever in the realm of party politics and a possible legal challenge from the Democrats to the election process. In Florida, they have begun to recount the votes.
Good morning.
Governor George Bush and his running mate Dick Cheney, who are just ahead in the popular vote, appeared before cameras in Texas today to say unequivocally and confidently they will abide by the election law in the state.
This morning brings news from Florida that the final vote count there shows that Secretary Cheney and I have carried the state of Florida. And if that result is confirmed in an automatic recount, as we expect it will be, that we have won the election.
Vice President Gore used much the same language, with one other consideration.
Because of what is at stake, this matter must be resolved expeditiously, but deliberately and without any rush to judgment.
It is not over because while Mr. Bush is ahead by about 1,700 votes, there are still an undetermined number of absentee Florida ballots from overseas to be counted. They may be for Mr. Bush or Mr. Gore, but counting them will take time. And in the midst of this, there is a not-so-subtle effort underway by the Democrats to question the Florida vote in general. Uncertainty, intrigue, and partisan politics make for a volatile mix. President Clinton said today, there should be no doubt about the importance of the fundamental right to vote.
No American will ever be able to seriously say again, my vote doesn't count.
We're going to go to Florida now, of course, because who wins Florida will be the president, as of now at any rate. ABC's Aaron Hayes is in Tallahassee. Aaron.
Peter, this state is in political uproar. Already, early in the recount, the vote totals are starting to change, not in a way right now that would alter the outcome of the election, but there is no telling at this hour where this is going to go.
We're very comfortable and confident that we won this race on Election Day.
We do know that this election in Florida is not over yet.
The tug-of-war for the presidency is now down to the most local of politics, counties in Florida, precincts in Florida, where the recount has begun. And swarming into the state, the big guns. For the Bush campaign, James Baker. For the Gore campaign, Warren Christopher. And legions of attorneys, investigators, election specialists. Here to figure out what happened, what's happening, and how to protect whatever turf they can. It is all small turf and tedious work.
We've never done one that changed the outcome of the race.
67 counties are retallying their votes. In each, 3 local overseers stand by to recertify it all. Those votes will likely be tabulated by tomorrow, but that, it now appears, is hardly the end. There are hundreds of absentee ballots still to come trickling in.
There is a provision in Florida law that any ballot that is received from an overseas voter within the next 10 days will be counted for federal offices only.
And Florida's Republican Secretary of State made it clear today she will not declare a winner tomorrow.
We then must wait 10 days to receive these overseas ballots that are outstanding.
How many ballots? No one's quite sure. Will they make a difference? Hard to say. Many will come from military bases expected to swing Republican. But others will come from Americans in places like Israel, voters like David Baskin.
Gore, when he was in Israel 2 years ago, he spoke in Hebrew. And I felt that to be very positive.
And there's another complication. Some who voted in Florida yesterday are crying foul, saying the voting process was a mess in places like Palm Beach County, where the ballot was confusing, might have resulted in a lot of mistaken votes for Pat Buchanan.
3,500 people did not vote for Pat Buchanan. Come on, this is heavily Democratic Palm Beach County.
Late today, Florida's Democratic Attorney General and Republican Governor defended the voting process here, said they will hunt down any fraud and prosecute it. And Governor Bush, brother of candidate George Bush, recused himself from any oversight of that process.
The stakes are high, and the circumstances demand responsibility by both political parties and by each of you.
Trouble is brewing here already. 3 Palm Beach County residents have hired lawyers to help them seek a new election in that county over, they say, voting irregularities. Peter, this is getting more complicated by the hour.
Thank you very much, Aaron Hayes in Tallahassee. Before we go back to Florida in a more precise way, or even more precise way, as to say, let's take a look at the overall vote totals as they stand right now. In the popular vote for the nation as a whole, Al Gore is still ahead at the moment by slightly less than 200,000 votes, but that's changing all the time in small ways. In the electoral vote, with Florida and Oregon still too close to call, it is 260 electoral votes for Mr. Gore and 246 for Mr. Bush. And we are joined now by ABC's Terry Moran, who's with the Gore campaign in Nashville, there on the left, and Dean Reynolds with the Bush campaign in Austin. Let me first talk to Dean, if I may. Dean, the Bush campaign is, if not exuding, putting forward a fairly confident air today, even naming Dick Cheney as in charge of the transition team to the White House. Beyond that, what is their strategy?
Well, they want to create a sense of unstoppable momentum, Peter. They believe that the voters have spoken and that they have to get about the business of creating a new government.
And what about these allegations of voter fraud?
Well, they say that these things are ballot box sensationalism. They don't think that they will stand up to scrutiny. They have seen no examples of real fraud.
And the possibility of a legal challenge from the Democrats to the vote itself?
Well, they suspect that the Gore campaign is gearing up for a major legal challenge. They say it will be pointless. They say there is no end game here, and they suspect that over time, someone with Al Gore's best interest at heart will prevail on him to drop any challenge.
Would it be fair to say that the mood in Austin tonight is cautious optimism?
Oh, no question. They are optimistic, but they've always tried to present this kind of optimistic point of view. In fact, they are trying to implant 2 points about this recount. One, that it's a mere formality. The second, that it will be over tomorrow. And there's talk about scheduling some sort of victory event tomorrow night.
Okay, thanks very much, Dean Reynolds, who's in Austin. Now let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, to talk to ABC's Terry Moran. Terry, tell us what you know at this point about the possibility of a legal challenge.
Well, the first thing to say about that, Peter, is that Al Gore himself has made absolutely no decision to go forward at all with a legal challenge. What they're doing right now, they say, is a couple things. First, over and over again, emphasizing Gore's victory in the popular vote. They're saying he's America's choice to be president. They're doing that for 2 reasons: pride and to lay the groundwork of legitimacy for a legal challenge if they go to that step. Before they get there, however, what they're doing right now is trying to gather facts, as any lawyer would do in a case, trying to ascertain what the actual situation is so that when Al Gore has to make a decision whether or not he mounts a legal challenge, he'll be fully informed. That's what they're doing.
Now, the campaign was not talking about the popular vote a week or so ago, largely because they thought it might go to Mr. Bush.
Well, it was a surprise, and they're very proud of that. They make the point that Al Gore won more votes from the American people than Bill Clinton did in '96 or '92, that he won more votes than any Democrat since Lyndon Baines Johnson. They say that that is an achievement of Al Gore, of the Democratic Party, and once again, it gives them the grounds that they aren't sore losers trying to steal the election in the Electoral College.
The grounds, perhaps, for a legal challenge, perhaps. Terry Moran, thank you very much. Just one note about the third parties. A lot of talk throughout the week, of course, about how Ralph Nader might do. The Green Party candidate, Ralph Nader, did not win the 5% of the national vote he needs to get federal funding for the next campaign. As to what the so-called Nader effect in various races will turn out to be, quite frankly, it will take time to know it precisely. A little later in the broadcast, we'll take a look at how the networks got it wrong. It's been the wildest night in any political history that anyone here can remember. In a moment, we'll talk to our political analyst, George Stephanopoulos.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Kellogg's.
You are absolutely gorgeous. Yes, you are. Oops. like that.
Perfect. Now tell me this isn't the finest crop you've ever seen.
Why don't you go next?
For the best flakes, we only accept the best corn. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Oh. What's the matter, honey? Oh, heartburn. I know just what you need.
New Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief. Faster than Pepcid or the leading prescription. New Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief.
The latest styles don't have to cost a fortune.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can find great-looking glasses for only $99.
Hundreds of the latest styles, frames, and lenses, all for only $99. Hurry, sale ends November 25th.
Introducing a new premium sedan from Hyundai. With soft leather, traction control, V6 power, and the freedom of America's best warranty plan. All for less than $24,000. The new XG300. Fly first class for the price of coach.
This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, these people were like family to me. Remember I met Jeannie at the company picnic?
It was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, taking the new job was a tough decision. Deciding what to do with my 401k money was another. I didn't want to mess it up. I called T. Rowe Price. You know, you told me about the mutual funds. Yeah, well, they sent me a rollover kit, you know. Took me through it step by step.
Well, made it easy for you.
Yeah, piece of cake.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years.
It's going to be a good job.
Yeah.
Our political analyst, George Stephanopoulos, has not had much sleep, but it hasn't made him any less sharp. As we listen to these two guys, Dean and Terry, it's utterly clear we have two different political teams now with two very different goals.
Very different strategies. The Bush campaign wants to shorten the timeline. They want this election in Florida to be over right away. They want a quick, almost mechanical recount, have George W. Bush certified on the road to inauguration. The Gore campaign is trying to lengthen out the timeline, say, let's not rush to judgment here, were the words of Vice President Gore today, so they can have time to gather the facts, as Terry said, for any irregularities in the Florida ballot, and then move to a challenge.
How certain are you that there will be a legal challenge?
I'm certain there will be a legal challenge, perhaps by a third party, by citizens groups, or perhaps a call for a very stringent recount, more stringent than the one currently planned. But I don't rule out, and the Gore campaign has not yet ruled out, if the facts are on their side, doing a full-bore, upfront legal challenge from Gore himself.
Do you believe that any legal challenge could be made without Mr. Gore approving of it?
Oh, sure, from citizens parties, absolutely, or even from the DNC, although that would be certainly tacit approval. That would have his approval.
And if I understand it at this moment correctly, in the main, Florida law will prevail.
Florida law will prevail unless, it is then challenged later in the Supreme Court. In the past, presidential electoral disputes have been settled in the Congress.
Many thanks. Speaking of the Congress, thanks very much, George. The fierce campaign for the Congress is almost resolved. And as of tonight, the Republicans will continue to control the House of Representatives. Absolute control of the Senate is still in question. As of tonight, the Republicans have 50 Senate seats and the Democrats 49. But in Washington state, the Senate race remains too close to call. If the Democratic challenger, Maria Cantwell, unseats the Republican incumbent, Slade Gorton, the Senate will be evenly divided. In Missouri, Republican Senator John Ashcroft says he will not challenge his loss to Governor Mel Carnahan, who died in a plane crash 3 weeks ago. Governor Carnahan's wife, Jean, is expected to take his place. And in the highest profile Senate event of the night, Hillary Clinton won the New York Senate seat. She is the first First Lady ever to run, much less win. On this politically volatile day on Wall Street, no particular signs. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down just over 45 points to close at 10,907. The NASDAQ was down 184 points. When we come back, hindsight. Why the media jumped the gun when it really was too close to call.
The Italians gave the elegant style. Germans gave the solid engineering. The combination that deserves all the attention. The affordable luxury, the new Laganza from Daewoo.
If your pencils look like mine did, there's something you can do. Ask your doctor if the Nicotrol inhaler is right for you. Or for more information, call 1-800-INHALER. Call today.
Not much snow removal this time of year.
Gives us a little more quality time with our Quaker oatmeal.
When you eat Quaker oatmeal like we do, it actually works to remove cholesterol from your body.
We ate it every day for 30 days. Helped take 20 points off my cholesterol.
14 points off mine.
And with no snow to remove, I understand how a box of Quaker oatmeal feels when it's in the cupboard, and the door is shut, and it's dark, and it's all alone.
Oh, Perry. Woo.
Quaker oatmeal.
Warms you heart and soul.
I asked my doctor about Lipitor. Have you?
Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you and call 1-888-LIPITOR or visit our website to learn more.
When we asked some denture wearers why they don't use an adhesive, they didn't have a whole lot to say.
I don't need it. My dentures fit fine, thanks.
I've not had a problem in 15 years. But then they tried Fixodent, and they couldn't say enough.
Makes them feel a lot more natural. I just plain forget I have them.
They actually fit better. That's because Fixodent gives even the best fitting dentures a better fit.
It just proves you never know until you try.
Fixodent, and forget it.
The race, the vote, and a night like no other.
This race has come down to the state of Florida.
Good Morning America with the latest on the election tomorrow.
Well, we cannot get to the end of this broadcast without looking at what role we in the media played last night, though we are not certain what effect, if any, our mistaken projections in Florida had. The background is this. Since 1980, the television networks have made election projections based on voters telling exit pollsters how they voted and some actual voting returns. It is almost always accurate. Last night, in an uncertain political environment, we saw the result of two rare mistakes. Here's ABC's Robert Krulwich.
Let's start with the first mistake, calling Florida for Al Gore early last evening. Now, how did that happen? Well, all day yesterday, the networks were conducting exit polls, asking voters, how'd you just vote? And in Florida, Gore had a slight lead, but too close to call. Later, however, when the first returns came in from certain precincts, it looked like Al Gore's exit poll lead neatly matched his lead in those early key precincts. So the programmers said, you know, we can give the state to Gore because the lead, it's real. So the expert vote counters that work for all the networks in New York sent this message at 7:52 Eastern. In Florida, the presidential, Gore wins. The problem was they went too fast, and the networks competing to call states as quickly as possible went along. Because it now appears that the first precincts that reported in were not typical. The match, in fact, was flawed, and pretty quickly Gore's lead began to disappear. At first, the mathematicians were confused. Their early messages say this vote is strange, bogus, and suddenly, says this message, we don't have confidence.
TV3 control,
said ABC's own Carolyn Smith.
I want you to pull back Florida.
So, in part because they didn't wait for a few more precincts to report in so they could double-check, at 10:13 Eastern, the programmers had to eat crow. We are retracting our call in Florida, they say. The second error came later. Around 2 a.m., George Bush was ahead, but then he got a sudden and unexpected boost from, of all places, Broward County. That's Gore country. Suddenly, Bush was 50,000 votes ahead with 80% of the state in. First, the Fox network figured Al Gore can't catch up now, so they called the state, and very quickly, perhaps for competitive reasons, so did everybody else. But again, it turned out they moved too fast. Those first pro-Bush votes from Broward were quickly followed by thousands of pro-Gore votes. So Bush's 50,000 vote lead was reduced very quickly to a lead of 224 votes. Time to eat crow again. Robert Krulwich, ABC News.
Well, I said we didn't know what effect, if any, we'd had. In fact, we had some in the form of premature congratulations from several capitals overseas. They heard those projections in the media as well, and in the capitals of, among other places, France and China and Russia, the leaders immediately issued statements congratulating George Bush. They, like us, took it back a little later on. When we come back, oh, it was chaos.
Did you know your Aleve works on headaches too? When my wife got bad headaches, the pain relievers she tried, they'd work for a while, then quit. So she'd have to take more. I had some Aleve for my arthritis pain, so she tried it. Now she's got her life back, and I've got her back.
Just 2 Aleve can stop pain all day. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Thanks, Aleve, for making such a difference.
And now, cold sufferers can get the all-day strength of Aleve and new Aleve Cold and Sinus.
The most important thing I've done in life is take care of my family. An important thing I've done lately? Talk to my doctor.
Ask your doctor about Prempro.
I'm glad I did.
The latest styles don't have to cost a fortune.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can find great-looking glasses for only $99.
Hundreds of the latest styles, frames, and lenses, all for only $99. Hurry, sale ends November 25th.
6 weeks before one of the biggest games of my life, I felt a strange pain in my chest. What my doctor found was my toughest opponent yet. 3 of my arteries were more than 90% blocked. After recovering from surgery, lowering my high cholesterol became more important than football. Later, I was fortunate enough to coach my team in the biggest game of the season. That's the kind of play we need! Along with a healthy diet and regular exercise, taking Zocor every day helps significantly lower my total cholesterol.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems. Because serious side effects can result, tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor and about any medicines you are taking.
When diet and exercise are not enough, talk to your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
Let's hear it for the lady. The one whose work is never done. Without you, none of us would even be here. Here's to you, Mom. From a car with the right stuff to get you through it all. Chevy Malibu. The car you depend on every day. Just like you, we'll be there.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
Who did it? A patient comes in healthy, we send him out dead.
What happened?
You left the patient. As I said, you left the patient?
And why?
Did you care about this patient? Yes. Then why didn't you fight for him?
All new Gideon's Crossing, ABC tonight, 10/9 Central.
Well, we'll get to the emotional effect of some of the chaos last night, but just a reminder, after one of the longest election nights in history, the United States still does not have a president-elect. Here in the East, when many of us looked at our watches, it was almost time for breakfast, longest in the television age, certainly. The outcome still hinges on a recount in Florida, where Mr. Bush and Mr. Gore are still less than 2,000 votes apart. And we may not know definitively which man won for several days at least, and you heard George Stephanopoulos talk about the possibility of lengthy legal challenges. The first editions of many newspapers described the chaos of last night, proclaiming a George W. Bush win prematurely. It was certainly the most exciting election night for weeks. The polls have suggested a long evening, but nobody anticipated this outcome. Here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
An hour after most polls close in Florida, the networks make the call.
An important win for Vice President Al Gore. NBC News projects that he wins the 25 electoral votes in the state of Florida.
We are now able to make a projection in the state of Florida. Al Gore wins the state of Florida.
Jubilation in Nashville, in Austin, a mood to match the weather. But then at almost 9 o'clock, the seesaw night begins in earnest.
We may have a problem with the pool call in Florida. Just don't do anything, just beware.
The Bush campaign is seething about the early call. A family dinner is cut short, and Bush returns to the governor's mansion.
I don't believe we got enough evidence to be able to call the state. We're actually counting the votes.
The networks back off.
NBC News is now taking Florida out of Vice President Gore's column.
It's like the home team has just had a rally in the bottom of the 6th inning here.
It is now well past midnight. The race a dead heat.
The tension is so thick here, you could cut it with a knife.
Another 30 minutes pass, and then
ABC News is now going to project that Florida goes to Mr. Bush.
George Bush, governor of Texas, will become the 43rd president of the United States.
Bush's top aide, Karl Rove, tells a reporter, "This is my moment." In Nashville, Gore is watching the returns. There is now unanimity among his aides. He has lost. Gore calls Bush. He offers congratulations and heads to the war memorial to publicly concede. Now, a night of high drama becomes positively excruciating. Cell phones and pagers begin going off in the motorcade. A field director frantically tells an aide Gore is behind in Florida by only 600 votes. Traveling several cars behind the vice president, his aides need to get to Gore before he delivers his concession speech.
But the vice president's still backstage. We're waiting for him to come out.
Again, there is unanimity, this time that the race is not over.
Bulletin. Senior Gore aide confirms Gore withdraws concession.
Gore calls Bush for a second time. Bush is incredulous, disbelieving. He tells Gore, do what you have to do. Gore at some point tells Bush he doesn't have to be snippy. A contentious call ends.
Don't print any M3s.
In the middle of the night, the Washington Post stops the presses. Supporters are informed.
Our campaign continues. When it's all said and done, we will prevail.
The crowds begin to thin out. The candidates go to sleep, still not knowing which one of them is the president-elect. Jackie Judd, ABC News.
Finally, seeing a very brief personal note, a colleague and I who've covered the transfer of power in many unfortunate parts of the world, very often at the point of a gun, agree today on the marvel of this democracy. For all of the turmoil last night and today and perhaps tomorrow, Americans, unlike so many others, take the peaceful and orderly transition of power ultimately for granted, a gift from the Founding Fathers. That is our report on World News Tonight. Stay with abcnews.com and ABC News all the time for continuous coverage on the situation in this presidential race, which continues. They'll take it up again later this evening on Nightline. Have a nice evening. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Tomorrow, the 2000 vote, a race like no other. And it isn't over yet. For the latest on the recount, watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Tonight,
5 seconds, Drew.
The Drew Carey Show goes live in 3 time zones.
Ooh, I better get into my costume.
Then, Caitlin co-hosts on Live with Regis.
You don't want to poke me.
Don't want to poke you? Why not? On Spin City.
All right. You better phone a friend.
It's all new. See you tonight live on ABC.
First, fast, accurate. News 2 at 6 starts now.
In this case, a picture says 3 words, still no winner. Good evening, everyone. We'll have more on the presidential race in just a moment.
But first, Lisa Patton joins us now with a look at some severe weather moving through Tennessee. Lisa?
Well, once again, we have very heavy rain showing up on Storm Tracker 2000. Take a look. You can see just west of Nashville, west of Bellevue, some very heavy rain pushing just north of Brush Creek. That's going to be sliding through the Pegram area. Let me widen out the view. There's a lot more of that in the southern half of Middle Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Columbia, just north of Waynesboro, all the way down in Tullahoma, Manchester, Lewisburg, all these areas. Very heavy rain, lightning coming along with these storms as well, and they are all moving off to the northeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. We expect expect this rain just west of Nashville to arrive here at about 6:18, 6:36 in Hendersonville. That storm does not have any severe warnings with it. We don't have any warnings at this time, but we expect as these storms continue over the next 24 hours or so, or at least through noon tomorrow, we will have severe warnings. That threat exists. This storm cell that's just east of Murfreesboro is heading towards Carthage.